Hey, what's up YouTube, and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. It has been confirmed that Zhong Li is getting a rerun in the second half of the 2.4 banner, so I wanted to release a Zhong Li guide in preparation for this date. Zhong Li is an amazing character, and aside from being a hot Geo daddy, he is also a great person to protect your glass cannon DPSs when you are in the Spiral Abyss. His ultimate ability is the only ability in the game that will petrify units for a 4-second duration. With that out of the way, let's take a look at my Zhong Li and then get into the guide. My Zhong Li has 28k max HP.
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I remember.
He has a 60% crit rate, 133% crit damage, 175 energy recharge, and 90.4 geo damage bonus. His weapon is the Favonius Lance R3. He has an Emblem of Severed Fate set with an Archaic Petra set. I have him at C0, and his talents are 1, 10, 9. To understand what to build on Zhong Li, I think it's essential that we first go over his talents and abilities. First, let's get into Zhong Li's normal attacks. His normal attacks are pretty weak, and if you're running him as a support, you don't want to upgrade them at all. If you plan on using physical Zhong Li, that is something you can do, but for one I don't recommend, and this is a support Zhong Li guide. Moving on into Zhong Li's E skill, this is the bread and butter of his kit. He is extremely great and has so much HP scaling with his shield that his shield is nigh impenetrable if you stack HP on Zhong Li. Zhong Li has a tap E and his hold E on his shield ability, and the tap E I don't really recommend. It gives him a pillar, and the pillar radiates geo damage every few seconds. After using Zhong Li's hold E ability, he will drop down a pillar, but will gain a shield as well. Upon activating his hold E skill, Zhong Li will gain all the following effects. His shield will scale off of Zhong Li's max HP. He deals AoE geo damage. If there are nearby targets within the geo element, it will drain a large amount of geo element from a maximum of 2 targets, and this effect does not cause damage. So if we think of geo infused slimes or hilichurls with geo shields. The properties of the pillar when created deals AoE geo damage. It will also resonate with other geo constructs, dealing geo damage to nearby opponents. With this, when infused with an element, will consistently proc crystallized effects, giving you even more shields. But if you choose to rely on these crystallized shields, know that they won't stack with your Zhong Li shield. This means once you have a crystallized shield equipped along with a Zhong Li shield, once you, the character, takes damage, both your Zhong Li shield and your crystallized shield will lose durability. Now let's talk about the Jade shield in general. It possesses 150 damage absorption against all elemental and physical damage. Characters protected by the Jade shield will decrease the elemental resistances and physical resistances of opponents in a small AoE by 20%. This effect cannot stack. Now let's get into Zhong Li's ultimate Planet Befall. Zhong Li will just call a large meteorite, dealing massive geo damage to a large AoE area. Opponents caught in Zhong Li's AoE ultimate will have the petrification status applied to them, and they can't attack or move. As you can see, his ultimate skill damage percent is 835, and this increases with Zhong Li's talents. The petrification duration is 3.9 seconds. And the cooldown is 12 seconds with an incredibly low energy cost of 40 seconds. His passive talent, Resonant Waves, when the Jade Shield takes damage, it will fortify, and fortified characters have the 5% increased shield strength. It can stack up to 5 times and last until his Jade Shield disappears. His next talent, Dominance of Earth, he deals bonus damage based on his max HP. His normal attack and charge attacks and plunging attacks is increased by 1.39% of his max HP. His shield strength is increased by 1.9% of max HP, and his ult ability is increased by 33% of max HP. And his last passive talent refunds 15% of ore used when crafting polearm type weapons. If I were to choose which talents to upgrade first when building Zhong Li, I would go Shield, and then his ultimate, and I'd keep his normal attacks at level 1. Now that we understand what stats we want to build on our Zhong Li, let's get into some viable weapon options. There are 2 types of substats on weapons that will be good for Zhong Li. You either want a polearm with an energy recharge substat like Favonius Lance or Prototype Star Glitter, or you want an HP substat which is on the 3-star Black Tassel. Between the Favonius Lance and the Prototype Star Glitter, the Favonius Lance will give you more energy recharge due to its passive effect. Crits have a percentage chance to generate a small amount of energy particles, which will regenerate 6 energy for the character. The Black Tassel has an HP percentage, which is used if you want your Zhong Li to have a stronger shield, but it is a 3-star weapon, and its base attack does not scale as high. Its passive skill is also quite useless. The increased damage against slimes is not really useful on Zhong Li as well. Next, let's get into artifact sets that you should build for Zhong Li. Zhong Li's best in slot artifact set is the Tenacity of the Millilith set. Whenever an elemental skill hits an opponent, the attack of all nearby party members is increased by 20% and their shield strength is increased by 30% for 3 seconds. This effect can be triggered once every 0.5 seconds, and this effect can still be triggered even when the character who isn't using it is not on the field. This artifact set synergizes extremely well with Zhong Li's Pillar. His Zhong Li's Pillar will continuously deal geo damage. This means you'll constantly get the 20% attack boost for your entire party. This will also increase the shield strength that Zhong Li's Hold E skill produces. The 2-piece set is also another plus side. It gives you 20% HP, which is nice for when you want to scale with your Zhong Li. Of course, as you see, I'm not running a Tenacity of the Millilith set. Instead, I'm running a 2-piece Emblem set and a 2-piece Archaic Petra set. I extremely like mixing and matching artifact sets with Zhong Li. He's extremely flexible, and many artifact sets work on him. For right now, I want him to have an increased geo damage bonus for his Pillar and for his ultimate, and I want energy recharge for his ultimate ability. But you could just as well swap any of the sets out for a Noblesse Oblige set or a 2-piece Tenacity of the Millilith set. All these 2-piece stats that they give are extremely good for Zhong Li. I really like Zhong Li as a character because he is so easy to build and is flexible using any artifact sets. The artifact sets that I have on him right now are just leftover artifact pieces that I got from grinding domains for other characters. Now let's get to the best artifact stats and substats that you want to roll for your Zhong Li. Some high priority stats that you want to build on Zhong Li is HP percent. Next would be energy recharge, crit rate or crit damage, and finally your non-priority targets are flat attack, flat HP, all those things. For your artifact main stats, it depends on how you want to build your Zhong Li. How I built my Zhong Li is an HP Sands, a geo damage Goblet, and a crit rate Circlet. This build is extremely hard to farm, and if you are a new player trying to roll on Zhong Li, I would recommend going triple HP on your artifact stats, building HP on your Sands, HP on your Goblet, and HP on your Circlet. Building triple HP on Zhong Li gives you the added benefit of increasing your shield strength, your ultimate strength, and your normal attack damage. Next, let's get into some constellations for Zhong Li. Zhong Li's constellations aren't really needed for any build or sort, probably with the most viable constellation coming with his C4. Nonetheless, I'm going through them all anyway. His C1 increases the maximum number of pillars he can have out at a time to 2. His ultimate ability will now grant all nearby players a shield. His C3 increases his shield's level by 3 levels. His C4 increases his ult AoE by 20% and the petrification duration by 2 seconds. His C5 increases his ult's level by 3 levels. And his C6, when his shield takes damage, 40% of the incoming damage is converted to HP for their current character. A single instance of regeneration cannot exceed 8% of the character's matched HP. As you see, the constellations for Zhong Li aren't that great. If I were you, I would mostly roll on constellations for my DPSs rather than my Zhong Li. I like to keep my Zhong Li at C1, one because I'm free to play and can't afford really constellations, but using those materials and resources to farm other characters' constellations would be in your best interest. Next, let's get into Zhong Li's team comps. Zhong Li's viability stems from being able to work with every DPS in the game by filling in weak points that they can't do themselves. By being able to protect your DPS, petrify enemies, generate energy particles if you're running Favonius Lance, or reduce elemental and physical resistances, it's something DPS themselves inherently can't do. Normally, if you build a DPS, you stack crit rate and crit damage. This will provide your DPS dealing the most damage as possible. Rarely ever you want to worry about survivability stats like defense and HP on your main DPS because you want them to act like a glass cannon, dealing as much damage as possible. So being able to push those survivability stats onto another character like Zhong Li would be the best result from an optimal point of view. One example team I have for you guys right now is my Xiao team. Xiao, as most people know, is an incredibly needy DPS. He needs energy particles, he wants a shield, and he needs a lot of healing. Using a character like Zhong Li, I am able to fulfill the role of providing energy particles and shielding my squishy DPS. Zhong Li also provides the added benefit of reducing enemy resistances, as well as petrifying smaller and larger enemies. Then of course my Albedo is in here for the Geo Resonance buff and extra Geo damage, and my Jean is in the party for team healing and animal resonance buff. That's about gonna wrap it up for today's video. Just to summarize, Zhong Li's shield is extremely good for every single DPS in the game. His shield reduces resistances and physical resistances off of enemies, making them easier to kill, making Zhong Li one of the best supports in the game. He has CC abilities, and his strong shield keeps all your DPSs alive through the hardest hitting attacks. With the 2.4 reruns and the release of Shunhe, it can be very hard to decide which character to roll on. If you're first starting out in the game, or have been playing the game for a while and just don't know who to roll on, I'd highly advocate for Zhong Li. He's extremely easy to build and his support capabilities are off the charts. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to see me in the next video by hitting that subscribe button.